On our mortgage-free segment today, we're going to interview Kestrel McCorkle from North Carolina. Kestrel and her husband, Evan, recently paid off the loan they had on their 50-acre property. We're going to find out why this was important to them and how they did it. Welcome to the show, Kestrel.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
Absolutely. Well, let's start off with that mortgage-free 3. These are going to be some quick, rapid-fire questions and answers just so people get an understanding of the situation and how you started it. So let's start off with, what was your starting mortgage principal balance?
It was $100,000.
$100,000. Okay. How long did it take for you to pay off? And I know there's more detail to come from this one.
Right. So probably just under 3 years.
Just under 3 years. That's great. 100,000 in just under 3 years. Okay. And what is the land value today?
The land value today is around $220,000.
That's awesome. So $220,000 owned outright.
That's right.
That's incredible. Okay, let's talk about this story then. Why did you decide to buy this land in the first place?
Well, it's about 50 acres and it's up in the rolling hills of Virginia. So it was just a beautiful place. And one of the reasons why we wanted to buy it is just for our family, a place that we could go, the kids could play. There's part of the property is on the water, and so there's a lot of water fun activities to do. In the summers, we've been going tubing down the James River. So mostly just to go up there, camp, spend time with family, do fun outdoors things.
That's incredible. Tell us about your kids. How many kids do you have and their ages?
Yeah, I have 3 kids. The oldest is Oren, and he's 6. And then there's Angus, who's almost 4. And then our youngest is 15 months old, actually.
That's awesome. Okay, so some family fun on the land. Okay, so what was your motivation to clear away the loan, clear away the debt? Why did you guys get pumped about that?
Yeah, so when we bought the property, land loans are a little bit different from mortgage loans. And because there was no primary residence or building at all on the property, the interest rate was pretty high despite us having a good credit score. So it was close to 6%. And with other mortgage rates being like the interest rates being much lower than that, the 6% made me a little uncomfortable. And so we just really wanted to pay that off as fast as possible.
That's great. And for peace of mind and because it was a higher interest rate, because that's like kind of close to that level of, okay, could I make this in the market versus,
Right,
was that part of your
right.
motivation thinking about investing and things like that as well?
Yeah, yeah. And so a lot of times you think about the market average around 8%, but I thought this is a guaranteed 6%
Yeah.
back. So that really played big into it. And then also just peace of mind because I've worked for startup companies for what I do for my business. And I was just a little bit worried about the security of my job. And I thought I would really just not like to have this payment hanging over our heads anymore.
Yeah, so that payment, when it was around, how much was that payment that you were making outside of the extra principal payments?
It was about $820 each month, but then at the beginning we were paying a little extra, like around 200. So in my head, I was like, that's $1,000 a month that I'm going to be paying for the next 11, 12 years. And I really didn't want to be paying that for that long.
Yeah, if you equate that to like a side hustle, like if you said, hey, if I'm going to make $1,000 extra a month, that sounds great. But if you could think of it in the opposite, like I eliminated the $1,000 need each month, and that's what you've done essentially, right?
Right. Yeah. So it feels
Absolutely.
great.
That's cool. Okay, cool. So you started to talk about the difference in the interest rate. Why is the interest rate higher for a land mortgage? Is it just because it's atypical? I guess I don't know much about that.
Right. So the interest rate is a little bit higher for these farm loans, typically just because there's no property there. And so it takes a longer time for the bank to like unload these properties and find the good buyer versus a home mortgage. It's a lot easier for them to resell the property if you default on the loan.
Got it. Okay, well, let's get into some of the details about how you guys paid it off. So talk to me about the steps that you took to pay it off early. Did you do things to increase your income? Did you decrease your expenses? How did you do, what did you say, $100,000 in about 3 years? How did you do that?
We did a little bit of both. We decreased our expenses. An Aldi opened up around the corner from our house. And so that actually saved us around $300 a month for food. And the kids are getting bigger, so they're eating more. So the food budget had started to creep up anyways. We were able to reduce that expense. And then I guess also Fortunately, unfortunately, with COVID, we usually set aside about $5,000 a year to take family trips, and we didn't really do that this year. So that money we just funneled towards paying off the mortgage as well. So a cut to the entertainment budget, cut to the food budget, and then probably the biggest thing that we did that was helpful was me getting a new position, and I got a really big pay bump with that.
That's great. And then when you got that pay bump, it sounds like maybe you just lived the same way as you were before. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. We lived exactly the same way before, and we just put all of that extra income towards paying off the land.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's that superpower of not grabbing a hold of that lifestyle inflation can do wonders, right?
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's always tempting because you're like, oh, I have so much more expendable income now. Maybe we should get that hot tub or but yeah, we just decided that we were focusing just on paying off the land, and then anything else that we would want in the future, then we could take that money once the land was paid off and spend on some of those fun things when it was all done.
That's cool. I bet you there's going to be a hot tub on that 50-acre land sometime soon, I bet.
Hey, maybe.
I was going to say, you probably got a lot of space for it, so you can figure out where that little postage stamp is going to go on the gigantic canvas, right?
Right, right.
Cool. Okay, well, talk to us about your general income range during that time, because for somebody to pay off $100,000 in 3 years, that means you got to have rough math, $33,000 per year to be able to do that. So what's your general range? You don't have to give us an exact number, but general range would help people to understand.
Yeah, I think during that time, because we had started paying off some of it when I had my old position, and so it wasn't for the entire time. So I'd say like our income for me and my husband combined at the beginning was about 170,000. But then by the end, it was closer to 200, and that was before taxes. But also during this time, we did have a baby, and then we were paying a daycare bill for 3 kids, which in our area is about $3,000 a month.
Wow. That is a lot of money. Yeah, that is a lot of money to fork over. Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, you've got big income, but also big expenses in your life. And with that, you have created some freedom for your life now with less payments. So how did you guys celebrate when the moment happened? Are you doing anything different now than you were before? You got $1,000 extra now, so you got to be doing something different with it. What's going on now in your world?
So we've been thinking about it, but we really wanted to plant some trees up at the farm. And so we are going to spend some money to buy an auger for our tractor so we can dig a bunch of holes, and then we're going to be planting a bunch of hazelnut trees out there. And so then eventually, in many years down the road, then we'll have a little bit extra side income from all these hazelnut trees, perhaps.
Wow. So how does that side hustle work? Tell me how that works.
Well, I have no idea. This was kind of me and my husband. We like to tinker with a lot of different things, and it just sounded like something fun to do. And a whole lot of it is playing the waiting game, and it's something that we can use the property now, really just enjoy it for leisure, fun outdoor activities, but then also have these trees growing and maintaining them on the side. And then once they're ready to produce that crop, then we were thinking maybe just starting with like the local farmers market and maybe going from there. But I think with the number of trees we're planning on planting, the average amount of nuts we could expect would be maybe 1,500 pounds a year.
Wow.
So we're going to have to find something to do with those. Otherwise, we're going to be making a whole lot of Nutella or something.
I love it. I love this. This is great. You're growing trees and creating some money. These are literally money trees. I love it. That's great. Very cool. Well, there's somebody listening right now and they say, you know what? I think it would be great to stand on 50 acres of land and say, this is all mine. So what is one step somebody could take following this interview, either to pay off their land or just to pay off their home mortgage in general, to get them to that spot?
Yeah, I think one thing for us was reducing our expenses. So looking at everything carefully and thinking, do I really need this? Is this really important to me? Is the off-brand of, Cinnamon Toast Crunch going to taste just as good? Probably. And then another big thing for us was my job change for sure. And while that made me a little bit nervous to think about leaving a company that I enjoyed working at and looking for something else, it ended up really being a good decision for our family. And so I'm glad I took the leap and had a little bit of courage to do that because it was a little scary.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, that is a big step, especially when you've got a larger family and you're thinking about them and taking that risk. It sounds like it worked out for you guys. So, congratulations on your job change and your ability to hold on to where you were with regard to your lifestyle and eliminate that mortgage super fast. So, you mentioned that it took you 3 years, but in the last year, it sounds like you guys made a lot of progress. Is that right?
That's right. So I think just in the last year, we paid off, or last 13 months, that's when we paid off a majority of the balance. I think it was $89,000 was what we paid off just in the last 13 months. So
Wow. So, I mean, that's you guys living on maybe half of your income.
yeah, yeah, I'd say less than half because we try to put max out our 401ks and then put all the money we can to max out the Roth IRAs. So we were still saving everything we could for retirement and living on a little bit outside of that. So yeah, we were able to put it down really fast. So we're pretty excited that it's done.
That's incredible. Well, congratulations to both you and your husband for increasing your income to get to a place where you feel, wow, we're really going to be able to hit some of our financial goals. But then also kudos to having that structure to be able to max out your retirement and get your land free and clear. So congratulations. This is a great story, Kestrel. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. If people have follow-up questions for you, can they chat with you in our Thriving Families Facebook community?
Yes, yeah, I'm a part of the community, so we'd be happy to do that.
Excellent. Well, excellent. Well, I'll post this in there. And then if people have any questions for you, Kestrel, as a follow-up, thank you so much for doing that because I think that's going to inspire people to get where you are and have that free and clear land or free and clear home. So thank you again. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks so much. Really enjoyed it.